So in this episode, we're going to be comparing the Uscooter Booster 5 to the Xiaomi M365.
Now, let's review.
These two scooters are pretty similar in terms of size and range, but they're very different in a lot of different respects. A lot of people have experienced the Xiaomi Mi M365 because that is what Bird uses. Lots of other rental scooter companies use this scooter as well, so chances are you've actually experienced it before. First difference right off the bat is that the Uscooter doesn't have a kickstand. And so some people might be saying, that's ridiculous. This is a more expensive scooter. Why doesn't it have a kickstand? Well, I'll show you why. You can do the half fold scooter stand, which means that, you know, if you're stopped for a quick bit, you can just sort of let it sit there. And then when you're ready to go, just pick up the handlebars, everything locks into place, and away you go. The suspension on the Uscooter is so much better than on the Xiaomi. Why? The Xiaomi doesn't have any suspension whatsoever. They rely on these pneumatic tires to handle every bump, every divot in the road, and I'll be honest, it's not enough. Come over to the Uscooter. These are solid tires. That means, yes, you do not get any pneumatic suspension dampening effect at all. However, you get a front suspension, which can take quite a bit of a bump. You get a rear suspension, which is fantastic for bumps. And the overall effect means that you do not have to worry about getting flats, and you can cover some much rougher terrain than you would want to with the Xiaomi. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is folding. The Uscooter folds up pretty nicely, pretty quickly. So you kind of flick it forward and kick that button and it folds down. Kind of a really ingenious little design. So you push in, pull down, and you release. You could do it with your foot if you wanted to. Kind of come in, push it, and off you go. So, I mean, that's pretty convenient. It doesn't require hardly any crouching down or anything like that. So you can fold this even smaller. If you notice here, unhook this, slide your handles down even smaller. Now you might be saying, but Jesse, your handlebars are sticking out. Bam. Now this thing is pretty small. Let's compare this with the Xiaomi. The Xiaomi's fold point is right here. This is the hinge that folds the Xiaomi. So you have to unfold this, push down on this, give it a push. This handle folds down, and then the bell hooks on right there. Let's look at the difference here. Huge difference having none of the wheels fold up. Xiaomi has these big honking handlebars. They do not fold in. The Uscooter weighs about 4 pounds less than the Xiaomi. You can kind of feel it. So we're talking about like 24, 25 pounds, about 28 or 29. Next, I want to talk about the decks of both of these scooters. As you can see, the Uscooter has a sandpaper deck. Your feet will not slide off of this. Same stuff that they use on skateboards, it's for a reason. Now the Xiaomi does have these little raised plastic dots, but when it's wet, these plastic dots don't offer you a lot of friction. Uscooter has a much better deck. All right, so let's talk about brakes. Both scooters have a rear brake light. The Xiaomi has a disc brake, which means that you have a handle brake, which you can squeeze to slow down and stop. With the Uscooter, you actually have to step on this back part. For people familiar with Razor scooters, it's just like that, only now you're going a heck of a lot faster. It can be a bit awkward to be braking on this thing because you actually have to put your foot all the way back and push down on it, stand on the back when your whole body is leaning forward because you're slowing down. It's a bit counterintuitive. I will say it's nice and simplistic. It means that you don't have to worry about an entire brake assembly, which, you know, on this scooter can go wrong. Whereas with this thing, you stomp down, you're stopping. Both of these scooters have electric motors, which means that they can both propel you forward, but they can also slow you down. The Uscooter will have you coast until you press on a brake lever, which will then enable the motor to slow you down. Whereas on the Xiaomi, if you let off the throttle, it'll give you some regen braking, kind of like one pedal driving. The Uscooter Booster 5 has a much more powerful motor than the Xiaomi, which means that you're not only going to be accelerating faster with the motor, you're also going to be braking faster. So it's better in the sense that you're going to be able to slow down faster if you want to. It means that you're going to be able to handle steeper hills without having to rely on a friction brake. But again, the disadvantage of not having that handle brake means that slowing down can be a bit tricky sometimes. Another thing that I like about the Uscooter over the Xiaomi is the charge port. Charge port on the Xiaomi is very low. It's right here. It's covered by this little piece of rubber, very easy to remove. Very easy to get water and dirt stuck in there. I don't know, it's all right, but if you come over to the U-Scooter, they put it all the way up here, which means that, you know, splashes and other things aren't going to be interfering as much. Overall, I would much rather have the port here than have it right here. The Xiaomi has an app, and the U-Scooter doesn't have an app. This might be a problem, except you may notice that the Xiaomi does not have a screen. The Xiaomi has 4 dots, which are able to tell you the battery level, and that's about it. The U-Scooter has an entire screen devoted to showing you your speed, your battery level, as well as percentage, so you get down to a much finer degree of accuracy, as well as your battery temperature and your mileage. So the Xiaomi scooter comes equipped with a bell, which is part bell, part locking mechanism for the folding part. This scooter does come with a horn, which, I don't know, I would say probably neck and neck. Overall, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. This definitely isn't going to, you know, get cars to move out of your way, but I think it is useful for pedestrians. So the U-Scooter has some really nice riding features that the Xiaomi does not. One of them is, you know, taking off from 0 miles an hour. If you put any pressure on the accelerator, it'll take off. This can be a good or a bad thing. You can actually shut this off using the settings of the screen, which I have not figured out yet. It's like working a digital watch, but it's kind of nice because with the Xiaomi, sometimes you'll kind of kick off and you won't get any power and you have to kick off again. You feel like an idiot. Whereas with this, you can confidently step on your scooter and ride off. The other point here is about power. The U-Scooter Booster 5 has 500 watts of power, which is double the Xiaomi. And you can really feel it. This gets going up to about 25 miles an hour, where the Xiaomi is stuck at about 16, 18 miles an hour, which means that you can really get going where you need to go nice and fast. Another big point about power is hills. Having 500 watts of power and being able to kick off means that hills really aren't as much of a problem as they are with the Xiaomi. So overall, I think that the U-Scooter is a step up over something like a Xiaomi. I think that if you are a commuter in a city and you don't want a car, you don't want a bike, you want to live the scooter life, this is the scooter for you. It's a bit more expensive than the Xiaomi, but it has some really great features that I think are essential for city dwellers. The few disadvantages that it has are in terms of emergency braking, you know, not having that handle brake, something that you can just clamp down on as soon as your fight or flight kicks in. All right, so that was the review of the U-Scooter Booster 5. You can check it out. We'll put a link down below so you can find where to buy it.
Thanks for watching. Now let's review.